Are you an electrical business and you're looking to create a really amazing website that is going to get you leads from your local area so you're not having to drive around the countryside to bring in money to your company? My name is Nicole Davidson. I'm the creative director here at Picasso Media, where we work with primarily trade companies to build their websites, and we work with creating ongoing local SEO strategies for our clients to ensure that they are getting leads into their business. Now in this video, we are really going to dive into the things that you need on your website if you are an electrician and you're really trying to improve your website. As with most things, a very great first impression is always the best thing. It can make all of the difference between whether a client calls you, emails you, or whether they jump off your website and you never hear from them again. Now, electrician in Australia is definitely a competitive industry, and it is something that you want to ensure that your website is helping you put your best foot forward when it comes to clients and potential customers contacting you. It is no secret that when you have someone come to your website, you have between 3 and 5 seconds for that person to decide if you are going to be able to help them, if you're the person that can do the job that they are requiring. When people come to your website, they're coming to you to essentially fill a specific need that they have, whether it is an emergency electrician fault that they really need fixed fast, or whether it's something else that they are looking to do. Then they are going to be checking your website initially to see if that service is something that you do. In website terms, when someone comes and lands on your website, the initial part of the website that they see is going to be the hero section of your website, or what we like to call above the fold. So above the fold means before they start scrolling down the page, that is what people will see. It doesn't matter whether it's an electrician website or anyone else, that is what you see when you click into a website. And it is that area that is going to help people make a really quick decision on whether you can help them or not. So the things that I always recommend that you include in any electrician website when you're sitting in that above the fold section before they scroll or before they click into any other page is going to be these few things. Number one, a very quick headline that is not clever. It just tells them exactly what you do, and ideally your location. For example, if you're an electrician and you're based out at Penrith, out in the Western Sydney suburbs, you are going to want to make sure that you have a headline that states that you do electrical, and if you do emergency electrical, you will want to include that too. And then you potentially will create a sub-headline where you can really talk about the services that you do and the location of where you service. The second thing that I want you to do is ensure your phone number is somewhere in that top area, whether you have it at the top in the navigation bar or whether you have like a button where they can click to call your phone. Most people are searching on mobiles these days, so you want to make it really easy for them to click that phone number and call straight to your phone. The third thing that I want you to include is a really big call to action. That would be, usually speaking, when we are structuring everything, we will try and have that like underneath the headlines, and it'll be a button and it'll say like call now or contact us, and that allows that. It's a really quick, snappy call to action that is going to get people really get people moving around into your website and getting them to call you or to send you an email if that is your preferred way of them getting in touch. The overarching part of what we're talking about here is do not make them go searching through your website for something that they are looking for, your phone number, how to contact you, and letting them know the location. I cannot tell you the amount of websites I've been on, whether it's an electrician, a plumber, whatever it is that we're working with, and they do not mention the location that they service. It is so important to let your clients know immediately what you do. If you focus on emergency electrical, I would highly recommend having something in the top banner saying that that is exactly what you do. Using a key-rich title, you could say emergency electrical 24/7 or commercial electrical repairs, whatever it is that you want to be targeting, you want that in the top section of your website. Usually we have like a bit of a bar, and then we'll have the navigation, and then it flows into everything else. So that I would highly recommend you do that as well. And there are a lot of websites out there who don't put this information in until the footer of the website, and most of the time that is going to be too late. You want to make sure that there are going to be ample opportunities for the client to be getting in touch with you straight away. The second thing that we would ideally like you to do is to structure your website by using service pages. So what I mean by that is creating a specific service page for each of your primary services. For example, creating a page for emergency electrical. You could be creating a page for switchboards. You could create a page for commercial. You could create a page for residential. You can really dive into this even more and talk about, are you doing the HVAC systems? Like, what is it that you do? What are your top services that make you probably the most money and that are also going to be very specific as to what someone is searching for? Because someone searching for a switchboard repair is going to be, or a switchboard installation is going to be something completely different to those looking for an emergency repair. When you are also creating these services pages, make sure you're including your location. Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but you need to get that location in. It works, number one, for the local SEO, and it also helps the customer being able to make a decision as to whether they want to work with you. The next step of your website that I really want you to focus on is building trust. Now, how do we do that? We do that in a few different ways. Number one is through showing your licenses and insurances if you do have them, making sure that that is noticeable everywhere. You have, generally speaking, we will put the license always in the footer, but always talking that you're a licensed electrician, and you can include the license number if you like. Any certifications that you have. Finally, using testimonials. If you don't have testimonials, I would highly suggest you go and set yourself up a Google business profile or a Google map and start collecting them as much as you can. And in fact, if you don't have time to set up a website, I would highly recommend you do that and focus heavily on getting as many reviews as possible, so that when people are searching, your map would have a really high potential to show up to. Other ways that you can also start to build trust up, talk about the why choose us. So, do you offer free safety inspections? How long have you been servicing the area that you've been in? Do you offer that same day emergency service? All of those kind of things that you would like to see or your customers would like to see, it is really great to have in there to build trust. Another one that people don't generally like doing, but it does build trust, is to have a photo of you and your team on your About page. Many people do shy away from doing this, but it definitely builds trust, and it shows the people that are coming to you that you're not afraid to put your face to your business and to your name. Another thing that you need to be focusing on is making sure your website is designed for mobile. You want to make sure the text is very easy to read, that it's large, it's not too small, that the images are resizing to the screen, that all of the click to call buttons that you have created are visible on your website. You can also go over to the Google mobile friendly test. I'll put the link in the description, and you can jump in and pop your website in, make sure that it is mobile responsive friendly. And then that way you're going to keep, number one, your customers happy, and number two, we're going to get Google happy as well. The next step is to ensure that you are locally optimized. How we do that is making sure your Google map is on the page. Once you have your Google Maps set up, it is ideal to have that put into the footer of your website so that it is on every page. It is going to really help build that trust. It's also going to link your website to your Google Map page, so that's going to really help in terms of your local SEO as well. You also want to make sure for example, you would Google your business, and you want to make sure that everywhere your business is mentioned, that the phone number is correct, that the website's correct, that all of the information, your address that you need to have is done really well, and making sure it's all correct across the board, because that's going to help then build your local SEO and your authority around locally as well. The next thing that you need to improve your electrical website is to ensure that you have really good photos. Making sure you're taking photos of any work that you do for customers, making sure there's good lighting, making sure that there's not a lot of shadows in the photos. Ideally, that is going to make sure, photos of your team, photos of your vehicles, photos of any projects that you've completed that are then and have been finished as well. It is also a really great way. You should be able to get photos pretty well on your, like an iPhone or a Samsung phone. They do have pretty good settings these days where you generally won't have to go and get like a photographer to take photos. But if you do need to do that, and it's, the client requires you to go do that later on after the job is completely finished, for example, you might be doing a commercial fit out, then that is something that you might want like really decent photos of, that you might engage a photographer. But ideally, that is best to be doing using your own photos rather than having to use stock photography. Now, when you're starting out, it is obviously going to be fine if you do use stock photography. That's no problem at all, but you do eventually want to get to the point where you're able to use your own photos across the site. To flow into the search engine side of things, anytime you have photos, you really want to be uploading those to your Google Map as well. It's going to really help build that Google Map authority as well. And yeah, it's just going to really help that as well. But those photos also then build trust too, because they can see your work, they can know the type of work that they can expect from you. You're not just like, you're creating a website and just shoving photos in from that every other electrician is using. Now, this is going to sound very, very simple, but many people actually don't do this. It is very important when you are designing any kind of website that you want to ensure that your website is clean, very cleanly designed, and very uncluttered, and try and use a lot of white space. Now, I know that sounds very simple, but a lot of people don't do this. It is very important to make sure your website is easy to navigate. When you have your navigation at the top, you want to make sure all of your pages are labeled in a very simple manner that are going to be easy for people to work out what they're looking for. So you're going to have home, about, your services, and then underneath your services, you're going to have your emergency page, say commercial, residential page, and then you might have to drill down even further into, say, switchboards, your PABX, HVAC, whatever it is that your services are. Obviously, every electricians are different, whether you're a level 2 or level, you might have that on there as well. They are the things that you're going to need to try and have in your website. And then once you have then your services page, then you might have a projects page and a contact page. I would also highly recommend, if you do have time, putting a blog on there. It is another great way to help with SEO around the search engines. It is also an easy way to get topics into the website without just constantly talking about the same thing over and over. For example, answering questions that they might have around your services. You could jump onto ChatGPT and ask it to create a list of 100 blog articles that you could potentially write as an electrician, and then get a ChatGPT to do an outline of that too. And one final thing, because once I get started, we generally will keep going, but another really good thing to do is also have FAQs around your website. So for each individual services, you may have an FAQ section on your page where you can really talk about answers that are relevant to that particular service. So when you're talking about your switchboard, you can have FAQs there. You might have one on your emergency electrical page where you're talking about your turnaround time, what classifies as an emergency, all of those kind of things. So an FAQ section on every single page is also a really great option. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all related to your electrician business, or if you're in any other trade, we can also help you too. If you leave, I would love if you wanted to like, share, comment on this video. But if you do want marketing help, you can find me at picassomedia.com.au, and we can help you out with anything around website design and local SEO. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.